Since Amber Heard lost the defamation case against Johnny Depp, she's been making a lot of moves to try and right the ship, and we don't just mean her trying to get an appeal going. More on that later. She's been trying to speak, quote, her truth and make it clear that she and her legal team feel she was wronged by the verdict. But even with all of that, she can't ignore the fact that she might be paying a huge penalty soon, and that led to her getting caught in a TJ Maxx. Believe it. We'll break it down for you, but before we do that, go ahead and do us a favor by leaving a like on the video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the bell icon so you never miss an upload from us. And with that being said, let's get straight into the video. Do you want to win an iPhone 12, maybe a MacBook Pro? How about $500 cash? All you have to do is comment the secret hidden message somewhere in this video. That's it. Oh, and leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel so we can keep affording these giveaways. Winner will be announced at the last day of each month. Thanks for watching and good luck. TJ Maxx. To quickly recap, in the defamation trial, Amber Heard not only lost, the money she was awarded via her countersuit to Depp pales in comparison to what she now owes him by court ruling. As such, sacrifices have to be made, which brings us to the main point of this video: thrift store shopping. In a video obtained by TMZ, you can see Amber Heard shopping at a TJ Maxx in Bridgehampton, New York last Thursday afternoon, where she was accompanied by her sister, Whitney Enriquez.
It's been about more than a week since the verdict. As you sit here with me now, has it sunk in? How could it? It's surreal and difficult. In part, yes. This has been a long time coming.
Amber and Whitney were pursuing racks for clothes, and at one point they were heard discussing white linen pants. It seems the sisters had their basket full of would-be purchases, as shown in the video, though when she noticed cameras rolling, Amber scrammed, likely because she didn't want more of her new life shown to the masses, who have very much been mocking her as of late. Not too long ago, Amber's lawyers went on record to say she can't afford to pay the $8.3 million in damages awarded to Johnny by the jury, and it remains to be seen if Depp & Co. are in fact going to enforce it. His attorneys have signed that they might not, though it was slightly implied that the non-enforcing might be tied to her dropping an attempted appeal.
Do you stand by your testimony and your accusations against Johnny Depp about abuse?
Of course. To my dying day, will stand by every word of my testimony. I think vast majority of this trial was played out on social media. I think that this trial is an example of that gone haywire, gone amok, and the jury is not immune to that.
Which her lawyers claim she has more than enough evidence to get to happen. We'll find out on the 24th if anything goes through, but clearly she's preparing herself for at least something bad to happen by going to this store to shop. And when you go from having money to buy all sorts of dresses for places like the Met Gala to thrift store shopping, you know you've had a major loss in revenue, blasting the trial in an interview. But obviously that's not the only thing that's been going on in Amber Heard's life as of late. Another thing that happened was a major interview in which she revealed her feelings on just about everything involved in the court case against Johnny Depp.
You think the jury saw it?
How could they not? I think even the most well-intentioned juror, it would have been impossible to avoid this. Every single day I passed for 3, 4, sometimes 6 blocks, city blocks lined with people holding signs saying, "Burn the witch," death to Amber. After 3.5 weeks, I took the stand and saw just a courtroom packed full of Captain Jack Sparrow fans.
While talking with NBC News' Savannah Guthrie, Heard said she doesn't blame the jury for their verdict. "I don't blame them. I actually understand," she told Guthrie. "He's a beloved character and people feel they know him. He's a fantastic actor." That's a very curious way of trying to say why Johnny Depp won, not the least of which is that many said both were acting on the stand in their own ways and toward their own goals. Not exactly inaccurate given the stakes for both of them, but hardly the only factor in the trial going Depp's way, as we'll detail later. Continuing on, not only did Amber Heard call Johnny Depp the actor that won them over, she also apparently criticized his legal team for painting her a certain way and overloading the jury with their witnesses.
Who were vocal, energized.
Can you put into words how that felt?
This was the most humiliating and horrible thing I've ever been through. I have never felt more removed from my own humanity. I felt less than human.
How could they make a judgment? How could they not come to that conclusion? They had sat in those seats and heard over 3 weeks of non-stop relentless testimony from paid employees, and towards the end of the trial, randos, as I say. That wasn't true in the slightest, as we'll talk about soon. Later on in the interview, Guthrie grilled Heard over her claims that she was the victim of Depp's AB, pointing to arguments his legal team made that the actress instigated the former couple's spats. "I never had to instigate it, I responded to it," Heard told the host. "When you're living in violence, it becomes normal. As I testified to, you have to adapt."
Let's go back to the day of the verdict. Were you feeling confident?
That's a great question. I wish I could say yes to that. I want to say yes to you, but it wouldn't be true. Even if you think that I'm lying, you still couldn't look me in the eye and tell me that you think on social media there's been a fair representation.
But Guthrie didn't let her off that easily, including noting that there were audio tapes that had Amber Heard's own voice coming through and saying that she hit Johnny Depp. "You didn't get punched, you got hit." Heard told her then husband in the clip, "I'm sorry I hit you like this, but I didn't punch you. I did not effing deck you. I was effing hitting you. I don't know what the motion of my actual hand was, but you're fine. I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was hitting you." Heard said that what was captured in those clips was no evidence of what was happening. They were evidence of a negotiation of how to talk about that with your AB'er.
There was another trial, dealt with the same substantive issues that had even more evidence in. In fact, my evidence was largely kept out. Really important pieces of evidence kept out. Done differently, handled differently by a judge instead of a jury.
You're testifying and you're telling me today I never started a physical fight, and here you are on tape saying you did. Amber Heard said 20-second clips or the transcripts of them are not representative of the 2 or 3 hours they are excerpted from. That would be true in many cases, but that 20-second clip gave a lot of context from both Johnny and Amber's side of things, so whether that actually flies is going to be up to you, though she wouldn't let it go. As I testified on the stand, when your life is at risk, not only will you take the blame for things that you shouldn't take the blame for, but when you're in an AB dynamic, psychologically, emotionally, and physically, you don't have the resources that say you or I do, with the luxury of saying this is black and white, because it's anything but when you're living in it, Heard told the host. So basically, she said that her words weren't to be believed in certain places, which is not exactly the most reassuring of statements, and will likely make many wonder what should be believed and what shouldn't be.
Some evidence is admissible in a UK court that is not admissible in a US court. Do you think that maybe he just had better lawyers?
I will say his lawyers did certainly a better job of distracting the jury from the real issues.
For some people, they just were frankly disgusted by the whole thing and don't have much sympathy for either one of you. Can you understand that?
Absolutely.
By Heard. What's more, she noted that the clips themselves were put online after being edited by Johnny Depp's team, so why weren't the full ones released? "I'm not a lawyer," Heard said. "As I testified to, I was talking in those recordings as a person in an extreme amount of psychological, emotional, and physical distress." Not the most convincing of arguments, wouldn't you agree? But you better believe she wasn't done there. Not about Johnny. She also talked about how her speaking her truth was possibly going to get her in more trouble. "I'm scared that no matter what I do, no matter what I say or how I say it, every step that I take will present another opportunity for this sort of silencing," which is what I guess a defamation lawsuit is meant to do. It's meant to take your voice, she said. Except, as many people have noted, defamation trials aren't that at all. And this makes her look like a whiner in the eyes of many due to how she's basically saying no one believed what I said. Oh, and about the infamous op-ed?
I would not blame the average person for looking at this and how it's been covered and not think that it is Hollywood brats at their worst. But what people don't understand is it's actually so much bigger than that. This is not only about our First Amendment right to speak.
But here's the thing about the First Amendment. The First Amendment protects free speech. It doesn't protect lies that amount to defamation, and that was the issue in the case.
Yes, exactly. You can't go into, the free speech does not protect you if you go into a crowded theater and you scream fire. We get the concept of free speech from the Greeks. My understanding of what that means is not just the freedom to speak. It's a freedom to speak truth to power.
The truth is the word.
Yes.
And that was the issue.
And that's all I spoke. And I spoke it to power, and I paid the price.
In the closing arguments, the Depp lawyer called your testimony the performance of a lifetime and said you were acting. What do you say to that?
Says the lawyer for the man who convinced the world he had scissors for fingers. I'm the performer.
The op-ed wasn't about my relationship with Johnny, Heard told Guthrie. What the op-ed was about was me loaning my voice to a bigger cultural conversation that we were having at the time, she said, noting that the op-ed was published at the height of the #MeToo movement. I obviously knew it was important for me not to make it about him, she said, or to do anything like defame him, except it did. And when the jury came together to talk about it, they agreed that it did. In fact, one of the jurors came forward after Amber Heard's interview went fully live and talked about how nothing Heard or her lawyer teams did were able to prove to the jury that Johnny had AB'd her physically, which was a key thing that Heard had to prove. The juror also said that Heard on the stand was unconvincing in a variety of ways, including how she was able to swap emotions on a beat and had crocodile tears. And as for the witnesses line, the juror said that the entire jury basically ignored the evidence of all the witnesses who has close ties to Heard or Depp, as they really couldn't be trusted. They focused solely on the evidence, and that led to them declaring her guilty of defamation. Curiously, Amber Heard has been quite silent after that juror came forward, so perhaps she's going to withhold further statements until the 24th, when she can make the case for her appeal. And there you have it, everyone, a look at how Amber Heard got caught in a TJ Maxx of all places, and how the things she's been saying is now backfiring on her big time. Do you feel that this is just the beginning of her long fall down? What is going to happen next, potentially, in her setbacks? And how do you think Johnny Depp feels about all of this? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.